do some audio recording of me because the plan is to put this online so that for those people that couldn't join us today, they'll get to watch it on Facebook, YouTube, all the platforms. Yes. So welcome everybody to the 2025 annual meeting of Harbor Wild Watch. We are so thrilled to have you all here and are so grateful to our hosts tonight at Ocean 5. We have about a 30-minute presentation for you. Please feel free to ask questions, do all that, continue to go get drinks and food in the back. I think they put out some brownies too if you want that, but it's a very casual meeting. We're all friends here, so please enjoy. You're going to hear from all of us tonight, but I'll start out with our agenda. We're going to do some welcome and introductions. We have a 2024 program summary that is going to be really fun to look at. We do have some recap of our awards that were given at our Make Waves event back in October. We'll do a quick financial outlook, also look at our funders and donors from 2024, and then you're going to get a sneak peek into 2025, which I know is what all of you are really here for. And that's going to include a volunteer update from our newest staff member, Liz, and then she's going to finish up with our upcoming events for you all to get on your calendar. So I expect you to pull out those phones when that happens so you can add it right then. So we'll start out with our board of directors who are represented all on the screen here. We do have 3 of our board members here, so give us a wave if you're here. We'll start with our vice president, Howard Swiegals. Thank you, Howard. We also have our secretary, Tom Larson, standing in the back, and our board member, Jennifer Beard, who is right here. We are so grateful to those 3, as well as the rest of our board of directors, for governing our organization, and really their job is to keep me in line. So I think they do a pretty good job of that. Well, it's everyone's job. It's a hard job, it is, agreed.
Takes a team.
And then we have our staff members. These are our full-time staff members. You'll notice that there's 1 addition from last year. So we went from 3 full-time staff members to 4 full-time staff members, which has been a goal of ours since we went down to 3 during the pandemic. So I'm the executive director. Most of you, if not, should know who I am. We also have Rachel, who is our education director. Oh wait, I messed that up. I was supposed to do that differently. We just talked about this. So what I was supposed to do was give a highlight for myself for 2024, and everyone was going to do that. So for my highlight for 2024 was definitely getting to travel to Washington, D.C. with Rachel and Stina to present our work on mobile pump-out outreach and education. And we had a standing room only at our presentation, which we were a little surprised about because it was about poop. So we were just really thrilled with that. And we even were accosted a couple of times, like in the bathroom, because people were saying, you're the TikTok ladies. Lady really is what they were saying. But so next we have Rachel Easton. She's our education director. Rachel, what was your highlight from 2024?
All right, I had to come up to get the microphone so you guys get ready. But my highlight from 2024 was in April, I was asked to be the keynote speaker for the CAPE program. That is the Career and Pathways Expo. It is a middle school girls in STEM kind of program, and so I got to speak to 250 middle schoolers from our local district and inspire them about how to be a woman in STEM, and I taught them life lessons from the kelp forest, which was a highlight for me because if you know me, you know I really, really love kelp. So it was just a beautiful moment to be able to talk to these young, impressionable women and get to share something that I love as well.
Beautiful.
I love that.
I'm Stina Troyer, the science director, and a highlight of mine was also talking to a bunch of people. I got to do the Southdown Science Symposium on my birthday and talk to hundreds of people about the rockfish work we've been doing. So all these daytime, nighttime surveys, which are logistically very complicated scuba dives where we're looking at the baby rockfish in the day and the night, and we've just submitted that final report, so we're really excited to be probably publishing some papers about our findings soon. So that was great.
Not just hundreds of people, 400 people she presented to.
Yeah, and I got them all to do the rock on, so you all can do the rock on with me.
Hi, I'm Liz. I'm the new operations coordinator, and my 2024 highlight was getting hired. So I've been with Harbor Wildlife for several years as a volunteer, and then an intern, and now as a full-time employee, which is crazy to me. This position really just gives me the opportunity to do everything that I love: work in the marine environment, coordinate with people and get to foster their love for the marine environment, work with aquariums. I have an aquarium background for those of you that know me. It's just fantastic. I'm so excited to be here.
Woohoo! We are happy too. And then yep, there we go. She's on it.
Hi, I'm Kat. I'm one of the interns. So my highlight from 2024 was finishing processing and analyzing 48,000 rockfish photos. So woo, done! Yes. So part of the project that we're working on with diving, they would go down and put underwater time-lapse cameras there. They take a photo about every 10 minutes, and then all those photos were sent to me. And I got to go through all of them and find all the rockfish, say if they were little rockfish or big rockfish, what type of rockfish they were. So I did that 48,000 times, and now we're done. So that's my highlight.
Hi, my name is Dylan. I am one of the interns. I got hired just this past November after volunteering for about 7 years. So that was obviously one of my highlights. The other big one this year was I actually got to lead my first beach walk. We had a series of low tides this past July. I showed up and Rachel was like, "Yeah, my son has COVID and I think I'm sick too. So you're gonna lead the beach walk." I was kind of like, okay, great. I had never been to that part of the beach before. I had never done anything near it. Never been on a beach walk. Watched her do it, and she kind of threw me on the spot. But it was a really cool experience. I had in the past done, worked at Touch Tanks, worked with the Marine Life Center, but had never actually got to step out and do one of those. So it was a really, really cool experience, and I'm glad I got to do it. So.
And you nailed it. You did so
He was prepared. He was going through the junior naturalist program, which he went through all of them, because he's been with us since you were, what, 10, 11 years old?
5th grade? Yeah.
So we start them young, we hook them, and then we bring them in. I will mention that we, a few years ago, switched to not doing an unpaid internship anymore. So all of our interns are paid through a grant, which we feel is very important in the equity piece. So we are doing away from those. People can still obviously volunteer if they want to get that unpaid portion, but for aspiring environmental educators or scientists going into the field, we feel it's very important to pay people for their labor. So with that, I'll go into our mission statement, which I'm sure that many of you are familiar with. And really, our mission is to inspire stewardship for the Puget Sound and the greater Salish Sea, to provide equitable learning opportunities about the environment to our local community and beyond. And over the past several years, really starting during the pandemic, that and beyond really came into play, because we're reaching millions of people outside of the Salish Sea region through our social media, and that has, although it's lessened, coming out of the pandemic, we're still doing a lot of that, and we're getting funds to attract people to come visit this area and then leave. Don't worry, we're telling them visit, then leave. And it's really successful. Rachel's going to give you a breakdown of our program data a little bit later, or actually right now. It's weird not having it right in front of me where I can see it. So here you go, Rachel.
All right, and I did not memorize these, so I'm going to have to contort a little bit. So we broadly break our programs down into those digital and sort of virtual programs, and then our in-person programs right now. And this in-person one has ramped up significantly with things like our Marine Life Center being open year-round and adding some hours to that, adding days to that. So we are now open 5 days a week, which is fantastic. Our monitoring events have just exploded, all in thanks to Stina's efforts in driving the participatory science program and getting just people on the beach to do counts, doing these rockfish dives, doing crab molt searches, XYZ. She's out there doing it and getting people and recruiting people, and there's no one who recruits quite like Stina. Show of hands, how many of you are here because you had an encounter with Stina and she hooked you? Yes, okay. There's a lot of hands up in the room. Good job, Stina. Pat yourself on the back. We have done a ton of walking tours. This includes the historical walking tour that goes downtown in the summer months, our salmon tours that take place in the fall, coinciding with the salmon season. And yes, we saw salmon this year. Woo-hoo. Our dock walks that are a new thing that we added. Thank you, Liz, for doing a handful of those. And then our usual kind of beach walk activities. So tons and tons of fun stuff with those walking tours and a huge number of participants. And a lot of those participants that come on those walks come to other programs. We see a lot of familiar faces around those programs because every one of those walks is different each time that you come. So if you think you've experienced everything here with Harbor Wild Watch, I encourage you to come again to different things because it changes, it's in flux. Our appearance of the night, we did 7 programs in the past year. This year we're slated to do more than that, so stay tuned for that. Our youth workshops, we had a kind of a sad year for youth workshops, mostly because of that funding on a lot of cases had dried up, but we still were able to do a handful of different workshops. And then of course we had the Marine Life Center, and this is a huge, huge win for us. To have this number be over 15,000 is wild. And that is in part to volunteers like some of you who are there to help staff on the weekends and have those expanded hours. We, as a staff of just 4 people, could not do this without you, so thank you very much for that. And so in total, 748 programs, 32,000 participants for in-person. That's like face-to-face interactions that we had with humans, which that's a huge number. So yeah, go ahead and clap for that. Lindsay, would you click my next slide for me? Then onto our digital activities. We have a strong presence on the TikTok app, and so we are able to live stream those beach walks. We did 11 of those and reached 118,000 people.
Live.
Huh? This is wild to me that people will just sit and stare at their phones and watch us for like 40, 50, 2 hours at a time because we're doing cool stuff out on the beach. Sometimes that's at night, sometimes it's during the day, but we did 11 of those live streams. We also brought people into the Marine Life Center. If they couldn't visit in person, we were able to do that virtually. We did roughly one a month to 30,000 viewers. A lot less popular than those late night low tide programs. Probably because I was doing it in the middle of the workday when people are supposed to be in school or at work and probably not on TikTok all that much. And then we can post videos to TikTok as well. And so we would post a video. You can see we did 211 videos. But what's staggering here is that 8.8 million views on those videos. That's a huge audience of people.
Oh, yeah.
It is. It blows my mind, like to think about how many hours of like footage that is just out there and watched. It's wild.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, let's not get carried away.
Rachel's our Taylor Swift.
There you go.
What an interesting little snippet. Okay, we can go to my next slide for me there, Lindsay. But this is sort of what it looks like when they comment all the fun things that they're seeing and asking questions. So then we have our youth programs. These are for our students. Like I said, we did 27 programs to 1,300 students, and some of those highlights were summer camp, super fun. Definitely the most like energy expenditure that I do in an entire year because you're wrangling 30 kids, and then you feed them snack, and they're hyped up, and we're at the beach, and we're having a great time. Those kids, they have the most energy-giving experience too. So I come away both simultaneously exhausted and amped up to be just curious about our world. And so summer camp has always been a highlight. Tech Trek is a very fun program put on by the American Association of Educated University Women, AAUW, something like that. And they coordinate a summer camp based out of UPS, and they bring students on field trips during the day, and we are one of those field trips, so we got to take a bunch of students, maybe would-be scientists, they kind of answer a form of what their interests are and get paired up with various field trips, and so we brought them out to the dock. We did some plankton staining, they got to look underneath the microscopes, they get to look at crabs and things like that. We did some really fun camp programs like day camps for other people. We brought in the Stitcheroo kids from a sewing camp, and they came learned all about sea creatures. Liz and I taught them all about hermit crabs, and then they crafted and went back and used their sewing skills to like make little sea creatures, and it was so much fun. The Korean Pathways Expo, the Cape, where I was a keynote speaker, was great, and then tons of great interactions for those field trips. So all in all, our youth programs are so much fun. And then I think it's my turn to turn it over to Miss Stina, who's going to tell you a little bit about some of our awards that we like to give out each year. So take it away, Stina. Stina, we always say Stina brings the fun. Like I'm programs, Lindsay's funding, and Stina's fun. So here we go.
I believe we specifically said Stina's the party at our staff meeting this day, and I was like, yeah, this is great. So yeah, I get to take over for the celebration part of things, which is probably like the best part of being a human, is getting to, reflect and rejoice in some great accomplishments. And so, cheers to Larry, big round of applause. Larry was our volunteer of 2024. Not only was he holding down the fort at the Marine Life Center, but he would take his work home, his volunteer work home with him, and enter data for us. He's part of the reason we get to track that huge increase in the Marine Life Center visits. So, plus we really just like Larry. Like Larry's one of those people who walk into the room, he's so warm, he's so welcoming, and we just love you, Larry. So, cheers again. We also get to celebrate a Partner of the Year, and because a lot of our programs take place in parks, we recognize PenMet Parks as our Partner of 2024. I really love these folks because I just waltz into the facilities and they just hand me the key to all the places. And so these are the partnerships that make programs happen in the middle of the night perhaps, or downtown and in nice low tide times too. So we will be doing lots of low tide walks with PenMet Parks probably forever. They keep good work, or they do good work to keep these places accessible and awesome. And so, cheers to PenMet Parks. And then I have to peek at this word because it's not really familiar to me. But our steward of the bicentennial, that means 20 years. Because guess what? Harbor Wild Watch has celebrated their 20th year in 2024 of being a nonprofit. And we had the special pleasure of recognizing Dee Dee Holzer, who was our founder back in 2004. And she gave the most heartwarming speech at our Make Waves event this year. So cheers again to Dee Dee. Getting this thing rocking and rolling so we can all learn and have fun. And now, the party's over. No, just kidding. The party gets to continue. Then I'll turn it back over to Lindsay to tap the money.
Thank you, Stina. I put the fun in fundraising, right? No.
Yeah.
No one cheered for that. It's okay. But we did have a really great year, and it's exciting to be able to kind of just give you this snapshot so that you all understand where our revenue and our expenses are going to. So we brought in $436,000 this year, or excuse me, in 2024. That is almost $100,000 more than we brought in 2023. So really, really happy about that, hence the addition of the staff member. Had to wait till we had that. But you can kind of see the breakup. A lot of them, obviously 61% are grants, and that's made up of individual foundations as well as government grants and contracts, things like that. And then we have donations, which make up of individual donations from people like yourself, memberships, corporate sponsors, and money that's coming in from individuals primarily. And then a small percent you can see is from program revenue, and that is coming from some of our volunteer fees, some of our programs that we do for private schools, things like that. You can see it's a very small number because the majority of our programs are free of charge. But we do have some like summer camp we charge for and things like that. And then on the expenses side, you can see that we expended $382,000. The majority of that goes towards people, right? Salaries, wages, because it takes people to do things. And then we also have, you can see 11% is specialists. We partnered with a couple really important organizations this year to carry out like our rockfish work. We partnered with PAUA out of Southern California, and we were joint on this grant. They did a lot of that rockfish work. It also includes our paid interns. We keep that separate from our full-time staff, so really important group there. And then of course we have our program expenses. You'd see that it's pretty low, and I think it's always important to note that we don't have rent. Well, we technically have rent, it's $1 a year, but that we have a partnership with the City of Gig Harbor that keeps those expenses really, really low. We're not having to pay for HVAC systems and things like that go, or just the rent that goes with the building. So we're very lucky that we get to keep that low because of that partnership with the City of Gig Harbor. And of course, we keep those admin and fundraising expenses as low as we possibly can as well. So the majority of all the funds are going to actual program costs and paying people to deliver those programs. If you go back really quick, the surplus, kind of the discrepancy there, we 2.5 years ago applied for a program called the Employee Retention Credit through the federal government, and those dollars came in this year. However, we weren't sure they were going to come in. So that's why you see we were very happy that it came in, but we were planning just in case it didn't. So that's why you see there's a little bit of a surplus there where there normally wouldn't be. Let's see, next slide. We have all of our amazing grant funders here. So you can see that the Pierce County has been a huge one. We have a contract with them to not only do our pump out services, but we do some other work with them. There was a little kind of a crossover from our oyster work that we were doing. The City of Gig Harbor contributes to us through the lodging and the lodging grant, lodging tax grant. The Russell Family Foundation has been a funder of ours since we started back when we first got our tax exempt status in 2006. I'm sure Joyce remembers that. They were one of our very first grantors, and they're still supporting us today, which is very, very nice. The Rose Foundation is actually out of California, but they have a Puget Sound Stewardship and Mitigation Fund that we apply for and have gotten, probably 6 years of funding from them. So that funds the majority of Stina's work that she does in monitoring. We're really lucky to have the support of our local American Family Insurance agent and one of our board members, Tim Lopez. Through his business, he actually has been the premier or presenting sponsor for Make Waves for, I believe, 6 years now. So very happy about that. Yes, thank you, Tim. We also apply for grants through the Watershed Council. So there are 4 watersheds within Pierce County. The KGI, which is where we are right now, Nisqually, the Chambers Clover, and Puyallup, thank you. There it is. And the Puyallup River Watershed Council. So we get small grants from all of them to deliver mostly beach walks and other walking tours in those watersheds. The Port of Seattle, they fund Rachel doing all of her TikTok work. So in 2024, we got our largest grant from them was $20,000 for majority for Rachel to do all the TikTok stuff. But also we cross-post it to other platforms. We also worked with a website consultant to make some changes to our website. They're still working on those, but it was paid for with grants from the Port of Seattle. Of course, Kitsap Bank not only is a sponsor, but that's our bank, so a big shout out to them. If you're not banking with Kitsap, consider it. Heritage Distilling provides the alcohol for our Make Waves benefit. Washington Sea Grant funded, and we've got a contract in the works right now to fund Stina's work for the European green crab molt, which of course is an invasive species. And she's added that to her protocol for all sorts of things. And then the Milgard Family Foundation funded the Marine Life Center, and they actually funded in 2017 the first big technological changes that we made at when it was the Scansey Visitor Interpretive Center. So we were really happy that they decided to fund us again for that transition to the Marine Life Center. Foundry 10 is a new one. This is the organization out of Seattle that funds our paid internship program. So very, very happy with them. They focus on really supporting equity within youth programs and getting the youth to that next step in their careers. And then, of course, all the donations, all the memberships, and all the in-kind contributions from all of you and our volunteers that aren't here tonight. So we are so grateful. We had a record year at Make Waves, our annual fundraiser, which Tom in the back was our auctioneer. We had a record year, brought in over $60,000 to that event. I remember our very first year, we did it for 10 years. This last year was our 10th year, and we brought in $20,000, I think it was. So we've grown significantly in that respect. It's the third Thursday in October, if you're putting it on your calendar. So we're so very grateful for the support that we get from everybody in this room and everyone who's not here tonight. All right, well with that, I'm going to pass it over to Liz to do a little sneak peek to 2025.
Here you go.
I don't know, I would say that all of us get kind of fun jobs, but that's just me. So I get to look forward to 2025, which I am looking forward to 2025 because, hello, I'm here, and that's awesome. So more staff, more programs. So part of my job as an operations coordinator, as a full-time employee, is delivering a lot more programs. So in addition, we also have more paid interns and interns through the work experience program. So with all of those staff being added onto our team, we are able to deliver more programs than ever. Just in the last 2 months, I think, we've added weekly Salish Sea story times. So delivering story times that are related to the creatures that live in the Salish Sea and their homes weekly to younger kids. We've already seen a huge interest in that from the community. We also, just this last Saturday, I led our first Science Saturday recently since COVID, and that was a huge success. We had 21 people turn up, which if you've ever been in the MLC before, you know that's a crowd in there. They had a great time. We did a bite-sized detective looking at some sharks, and they were ecstatic. They had the best time, and it was so exciting. And then we are also going to be introducing our Orca Deep Dive with our volunteer Bree, and we're very, very excited to start that for all our marine mammal lovers. Bree, give us a wave! Yeah. Yes, she's our resident Orca expert. We're very excited to offer that to the community as well. Yes, yeah. And then we are also looking at starting a marine mammals training network. Those of you who are aware of that sort of thing, we're looking at joining into those regional teams that respond to calls of distress about marine mammals on our coastlines. We're very excited about that. And then we're also doing more trainings and social gatherings for volunteers. We know that community is a huge and important aspect of joining and being a volunteer. Like, you love people. That's why you're joining as being a volunteer. Or maybe you don't. That's okay too. We recognize that. We are also revising our Wildside publication. We're really excited about that. So we are working on making that new book a reality. It's been how many years since we've edited it?
2009.
2009. She's due for a revamp. Very excited. And then we're also improving our digital engagement. So that was kind of looking at our face-to-face. This is more digital. We're doing website updates like Lindsay mentioned. We're also I launched a new volunteer platform, and we will be launching new member and donor platforms as well, making that easier and more cohesive for y'all. And we are increasing our training resources for our volunteers, so making that more accessible. Typically, we've only really had like one formal volunteer training every single year, so we're making that more frequent to make it more accessible for people. And we are live streaming lots of fun things on YouTube and TikTok, so that everyone can access that, and then also kind of reference that at big missed events, such as the recording that we're doing now, which is super fun. And then, like I said, my job kind of breaks down into being the volunteer coordinator and then a whole slew of other responsibilities. But I love working with the volunteers, and so we have some updates for y'all. We switched to the different volunteer platform called Better Impact, and we are super, super excited about that. So that will make it a lot easier. Instead of multiple Sign Up Genius pages to look at, it's just that one website You can view all of the opportunities that you're interested in. We also will have our e-learning and training on there, as well as ways to contact and reach out to staff members. And then with this increased volunteer engagement, we're going to start doing more volunteer training and meetings. Again, that community is super, super important. We're all kind of in this together because we're all interested in the same things. And so we thought that would be something really important to focus on in 2025. So we're going to be having volunteer meetings, social gatherings, activities. I heard seaweed pressing was in the books for 2025. That was super fun. So we're excited to do that again. And we also have more volunteer opportunities than ever. So like I said, we launched all those programs just within the last 2 months. And then we already have some that we're looking forward to in the next 2 months. And all of these volunteer opportunities are great because they build community, they allow us to offer more activities to our communities, and they also allow us to offer skill building and training to members of our communities, like in your high school or college age kids, that can put those on their applications. So we're really excited about that. Now for our upcoming events for February and March, we have our next Peer Into the Night. If you missed the 400-person one, this one is almost as cool. It's at Maritime Pier, not Seven Seas, 6 p.m. And so that one you might want to dress a little warmer for. And then on February 12th, we have our next Seven Seas Brewing event. And then kind of same thing in March 1st at Maritime Pier, and March 19th at Seven Seas Brewing. And then we'll take a little break from Peer Into the Night, because then the sunsets get real late, and no one really wants to be out that late. And we also get a lot of phytoplankton in the water, which makes it kind of hard for our divers to see. So we have all these awesome things happening. And I can say I personally am posting a lot about them on our social media. So if you're interested in kind of taking a peek into what we're doing, feel free to follow us on our social media. We got Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and you can see the lovely Rachel on TikTok. And then you're also more than welcome to check out our website as it undergoes all those new improvements. Thank you guys so much for coming tonight. We really appreciate it.
Just want to say thank you again, and please continue to mingle. There were so many good conversations that were happening when we started, so get to know each other, try and meet somebody new if you haven't tonight, chat with a staff member about an idea you had, or tell us something good that happened. But thank you all for coming, and enjoy your evening, and we'll see you at the next Peer Into the Night. And thank you to Ocean 5, and remember to please tip your bartender.
Good to see you again. Haven't seen you since the